one thing I know that you have a keen interest is AI, right? Now I hear this term bandied around far too much, and it rarely is AI, but machine learning, but it's misused. Like, what do you think the role of AI is going to be in cybersecurity moving forward? Is it, yeah,
That's a really good question, and I've spent a fair amount of time talking about
yeah,
that. There's a few different avenues, and so let's go on the positive in
mm,
helping us in our job. One of the things that I always feel like is a cheap shot is when, after a breach, then the news comes out. Well, the evidence of the breach was right there in their logs.
hmm,
Okay, I hear you, but there are literally hundreds of millions of events in logs spread across the globe in thousands of locations,
right, yeah,
and there's no way I can have enough people to see all of it. And so ultimately, since we're trying to provide a level of visibility across all people, technologies, and interactions that is so massive in a large company, there has to be better and better ways to be able to assimilate and to make judgment calls and to focus in. So I think AI, true AI, has shown itself to be very powerful in
hmm,
helping us in that level of visibility to come up with connections that we wouldn't have seen otherwise in traditional
right,
technology and so forth. So that's a positive side.
mm,
On a negative side, and there's different avenues that can play into, whether it be vulnerability management, incident response. But on the negative side, we are fooling ourselves if we think we're the only ones, the good guys, the defenders are the only ones that have access to AI
of
technology.
course, right, yeah,
So for the very things that we say that we can get from it, we can get powerful connections through automation to detect and respond, then it would stand to reason that the attackers will be able to embrace the same technology to find ways to exploit and exfiltrate. And so
right,
I think it's one of the things that's
wow.
interesting is I've heard so many people talk about the positive side, and maybe the attackers haven't fully embraced it yet, but there's evidence
Oh,
of
they
it.
will, they
Yeah.
will, they
So
will, they
that's
will.
going to be a piece that we need to pay attention to, I think.
Wow, that's going to be a very interesting challenge when you have AI powered cyber threats talking to AI powered cyber detection, threat detection and response solutions. I mean, wow, that's going to be an interesting. It's going to be interesting to see how that pans out.
Yes. Now, there's one other avenue I want to throw out too. We're
Yeah,
talking about the use of AI, but how about the protection of AI?
yeah,
Because that's
yeah,
different. So
yeah.
if AI is suddenly powering a lot of kinetic systems or automation systems and back end from everything from finance to banking to healthcare to whatever, then that is another information system that's kind of unique. What
Mm.
kind of attacks will we see against AI specifically, and are we protecting those? For example, if we know that a lot of like trained supervised learning in AI is based on learning sets and learning interfaces, then I would be able to, I think that we should be thinking ahead and saying, if I'm an attacker and I want to change the way the AI makes a decision, then if I can locate a learning interface on an AI system and exploit it by injecting training sets in for my particular
Mm.
patterns, then I can
Right, right,
start
right.
to change it. And guess what? In our current state of technology, are we looking specifically for that? A learning
That's it.
injection attacks? How about,
Yeah.
the final thing, and I want to get your thoughts on this, is that
Right.
one of the things we know from traditional security is that once you have an exploitation, then you can do digital forensics as part of the response to figure out what happened,
Mm-hmm.
and why things are behaving such as they are. But how do you do digital forensics on an artificial neural network? Because it's basically all these connected billions of nodes of data. There's no way to unravel that appropriately. So
Right.
things like forensics and being able to understand becomes even more challenging. So it's a little bit of a different problem of how do we protect
Wow.
AI and respond to it. I don't know that we've even started down the path of that.
No, I think it's. I think that's a whole can of worms. That I think that will really change everything. I mean, I think that's a really fascinating idea. You know, the idea that you can actually sort of um, present behaviour in such a way to make it look like it is, you know, the behaviour you're expecting. And wow, I mean, that's another level, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean,
Really interesting.
the one example I would throw out is, remember the old days, pump and dump stock schemes,
Yeah,
stock
yeah,
scams or whatever. Well, what happens if you have a new variant of that where We know that trading firms are using AI to help make trades. What happens if someone can inject
That's right.
stock in
Yeah.
and use it to scam the
That's
financial
it. Right.